I don't know what good art is. There are days when I'm pretty sure I have a good hold on what I think it is. I used to think that good art was all about recognition and instant communication. If I saw a very realistic landscape or a portrait painting that someone had worked on for 100 hours, that was art, and it was good art because they'd made something I understood very quickly, and there was no room for me to question that they'd worked extremely hard on it and knew what they were doing. The problem with this line of thinking is that I often get bored with things I'm familiar with and can recognize. For instance, I love movies, and I'm going to be seeing Iron Man 3 in a few weeks. But you and I both know how it's going to be. You're going to get a few scenes where he's making out with Pepper Potts to get the romance quota, and a lot of action scenes to fill the action quota, and maybe a twist at the end where he didn't actually kill Mandarin and he's still alive. What I'm getting at is that when you go to see a big summer movie, you usually know what you're getting into, and that's not bad. But sometimes you want something different. You want to be surprised, or you might want to have to watch or read something twice because it really bothered you the first time or it didn't quite sink in. If Tony Stark dies of self-inflicted alcohol poisoning halfway through Iron Man 3 and the credits roll, I'm probably going to watch the movie 10 times and then buy it when it comes out on DVD. I'd love to see that movie, probably because it will be very strange and uncomfortable, but mostly because I've never seen anything like that before. On the flip side of that, it would probably be boring if the vast majority of movies ended early because the main character died. What if it was common to go watch a James Bond movie and see him fall off buildings or get STDs from having unprotected sex with all those women? I don't always want to see weird experimental things. Sometimes it's too much for me. I once saw a video where a woman walked onto a stage, stripped down, naked, and poured SpaghettiOs all over her body. And this wasn't porn, it was presented as performance art on whatever site it was. Maybe someone just tricked me and SpaghettiOs porn is actually a thing. My favorite band right now is Animal Collective. I feel like if you have recognizable and familiar on one end and experimental and strange on the other end, they're somewhere in the middle and bounce back between the two, but usually closer to the experimental side. I started listening to them about 2 years ago. Their music sometimes sounds like something you could hear on the radio, and sometimes it's challenging and I can't process it at all. I like that though, because I never quite know what I'm going to get when I listen to them. I find that the more I listen to their music, the more familiar it becomes to me. So there are times when I'll listen to an album and there's a track that sounds like that naked SpaghettiO girls I was talking about. It doesn't make sense and I want to avoid it. But there have been times when that SpaghettiOs girl track ends up being my favorite way down the line. I like that their music can do that to me. It keeps things interesting. I decided to do an experiment while I was drawing this portrait of the band. I know how to make a recognizable image because I've been drawing for a long time. After I finished drawing Panda Bear on the drums, I decided to take the drawing in a weird direction just to see how it would turn out. I enjoyed being able to draw like there weren't any rules. I'm not a big fan of abstract art, but I can appreciate experimentation and doing something where you don't know what's going to happen. In the end, I decided to go back to something more recognizable, but I still have that weird drawing that I can hold up in comparison and think about later. Looking back at it, I think the weirder image is more interesting than the finished one that's more recognizable. I put up some song recommendations in the video description below if you want to hear any of Animal Collective's stuff. Thanks for watching.